Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight Pit Podcast. Oh my goodness. We've made it to episode 19 of the Fight Pit Podcast. Where did it go? We're about to be on episode 20. Episode 20, I'm not sure what that will be yet. It's the week of after WrestleMania, which, man, WrestleMania was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah. Anyway, Summerslam 2005 is what we're going to be going over today.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this
card was crazy.
Yeah.
It was
so
all over
weird.
the place.
I didn't know what the matches were beforehand, and the only one I'd watched was Hogan versus Michaels. So when I seen Eugene versus Angle, I was like, okay, wait, what? On a SummerSlam card?
The funny thing is that was low-key a good match, too.
I don't know. Eugene I can't get behind him whatsoever.
It's not even the fact that
his gimmick is a retard. He's literally retarded.
He's a stupid guy that steals...
No, he's not stupid. They specifically have him have like a mental illness or something.
Still, he's a mentally ill person who takes other people's finishers.
And I'm pretty sure the entire joke of his character is that he's a retard. And I'm not saying it as me saying retard. That's Vince McMahon.
Vince, yeah, that's very well probably his.
But anyway,
his verbiage.
SummerSlam 2005. You know, obviously we had the Icon versus Legend match, or Icon versus Icon, whatever it was. Hogan versus
Legend versus
Michaels.
Icon I think is what they said.
And yeah, you had Undertaker versus Orton, which is also another like very famous match to come from this card. Very famous rivalry, especially in 2005. Yeah. Like they were stealing the show. You had the WrestleMania. This was basically a WrestleMania rematch.
Oh yeah,
something like that. But
I think it was WrestleMania rematch from like a couple weeks before.
It starts off with Benoit and Orlando Jordan for the United States Championship, and this match was. I mean, I was not excited to see Orlando Jordan come out.
Right.
Like for real.
I personally wasn't expecting like immediately when I started just here. I'm like, oh, okay.
And Chris Benoit. You knew he was going to win this match. I
was expecting Benoit to win the match. I was not expecting like a 15-second match.
So we are just going to mention that we did not watch this like live. Obviously, this was 2005.
I would have been 2.
Yeah, I was born in 2004. So
he wouldn't have been.
I wouldn't have been conscious.
Yeah, he would have been conscious at that point.
So this is our perspective. Like, this is our first time going in. Yeah, we know some of the stuff because it's just of legend. Michaels versus Hogan, a very famous match. But this was our first time watching this. First impressions, basically. Yeah. And Benoit, he got beat up a little bit by Jordan for maybe 10 seconds. And then Benoit locked in the crossface.
Benoit just lit up because I think Orlando Jordan slaps Benoit. After he gets pinned in the corner by Benoit, Benoit just snaps and grabs him. I think he does a German into a crossface and then makes Jordan tap out right then and there. I'm like...
Benoit wins the match in under 30 seconds.
And becomes the new United States champion.
Yeah, this was a good match. It was a good start, you know. If you're going to have a big pay-per-view, you want it to start off with a boom. That's why, like, WrestleMania 35, they started with Lesnar and Rollins for the Universal Championship immediately.
You want something that will start with a bang. I mean, what better of a bang than a 15-second Benoit match?
And Benoit wins, and that's obviously the right choice.
Right.
And you went backstage after this, and Eddie Guerrero is having a conversation with Vicky Guerrero. And this was obviously leading up to Ray versus Eddie. This was the, custody match for Dominic Mysterio. And Vicky's basically telling Eddie,
"You don't have to do this. It's okay."
She's telling him the only reason that you want this is to humiliate Ray. You don't want Dominic.
It's not about Dom, it's about Ray. You don't know what I want.
Eddie gets pissed and he yells at Vicky, and yeah, now this is fully Eddie Guerrero's the bad guy here. He doesn't care Vicky. Who it is. This was the Eddie Guerrero, vicious Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
Like, after he has his Latino Heat roots, then he becomes the good guy. And then after being beaten by Ray... And by the way, I didn't know this, but Eddie Guerrero's never beaten Rey Mysterio.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that at first. And then
I knew this while watching this.
When they mentioned it, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I didn't know that, but that was a good little It's a good story, I guess. But yeah, after this, Edge versus Matt Hardy, and this is another famous match for all the wrong reasons. Obviously, Edge, Lita was with Matt Hardy, and she cheated on Matt Hardy with Edge,
while Matt was injured.
This is real life stuff, and
yeah, it was a real life feud at that point. Like, Matt was actually frustrated with Lita at that point.
And Vince McMahon, the devil he is,
he said, "Let's turn that into a storyline. That'll make a bunch of money."
Legitimate cheating scenario. This is something that ends friendships, and Vince McMahon turns it into a story. I mean, one of the greatest. Definitely one of the worst when it comes to moral.
Yeah.
But creative minds.
One of the most morally wrong.
When it comes to being creative, he's got it, and he knows how to make money. But yeah, this was it doesn't change the fact that you're kind of uncomfortable watching this, knowing this is real. And Edge is like the bad guy here. He's not just the wrestling bad guy. He is legitimately
like, I stole your girl and you ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Yeah, Edge, he's in control. They have a little brawl to start it off. This is heated. They just start throwing hammers at each other. And then Edge, he gets in control after the brawl and just
absolutely brutalizes Matt.
Beats the hell out of him for the entire match.
Brutalizes him.
The only reason the match stops is because the ref stopped it. Because Hardy was busted open and Edge was
he's basically convulsing at that point because he's just literally Matt's on the ground and he has blood all over his face. He's just basically stone facing. There's nothing in his eyes at that point.
It's not just WWE has booked this rivalry to have Edge and Matt Hardy, their real life beef, put on screen, but then to have Edge just beat the fuck out of him.
Like, for there not even to be a clean finish, it's just like, we're going to end the match because Matt came and finished.
This was the ref Edge, get off him.
This is a throwback to an episode we just released, but this was your Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton kind of stoppage, brutalizing him until he can't fight no more. It was, for 2005, that's nuts.
Well, I mean, just for them to have Edge win after... you just feel like Matt Hardy should win.
He deserves more.
He deserves this. And
after all this time, trying to fight for Lita.
Well,
dude gets
the real-life story is that Matt got cheated on, then he got fired by WWE, and the only reason they brought him back was because the fans were
because of the storyline.
The fans were pissed. And rightfully so. But, yeah, it ended very soon. Very quickly.
Yes.
And then next you actually do have the Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio match.
Very good match.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best matches for sure of the night.
Yeah.
100%. Probably the best match of the night when it comes to in-ring ability and storytelling and everything.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not even about the match either. The storytelling in this match. In the match, and,
this was the reason
for the build-up to the match, it
yeah.
was awesome. Some of the best storytelling they were doing at that time.
But, yeah, in lore, technically speaking, Dominic is biologically Eddie's son.
Yes.
When it comes to WWE lore, if you look at the story of WWE, it is said Eddie Guerrero is Dominic Mysterio's real-life dad.
Eddie has literally said that Dom is his son, and Ray has not denied it. He said, I'm going to win back, not keep the custody of my son. Win back the custody of my son.
Yeah.
If he's saying win back, then he's not denying that Eddie is his dad. Come on, Ray. You gotta do better than that.
Well, it's said that Eddie is the biological father, but Rey Mysterio has taken care of him his entire life, which makes him the real father.
Right.
Not biologically real, but
the father figure in his life, yeah.
When it comes to Dominic, that's his real father. Technically. Or I guess not, now that, we're in 2024 and we know the story between Ray and Dom so far.
Yeah.
And they had their WrestleMania match. What a match that was.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Anyway. Ray gets acknowledged by Dom, which Eddie doesn't. Eddie goes over to him. Dom doesn't really do anything.
Basically cowers at the sight of
But
Eddie.
with Ray, he does acknowledge him. And, yeah, there was... To actually start the match... It was like a great lucha sequence, basically.
Yeah.
It's what you would see, what you would expect between two great lucha stars. Just the monkey flips, and I don't really know how to explain it. It's just in the lucha style. You'd have to watch it. The first big spot of the match, basically, they were both on top of the ladder, and there was a sunset flip bomb. And then there was a Rey Mysterio ladder sandwich, kinda.
They go for the sunset flip. They both kind of land really awkward. Like, Eddie lands in an awkward spot, but it's more clean. But Rey literally collapses underneath the ladder, and his body hits the ground, and his legs just laying right on top of the ladder. He's like, I don't know, like kind of tucked in between both sides of the ladder.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was like this suplex face first into the ladder. It was set up in the corner, like horizontally, and Rey just went face first into the ladder off of a suplex. I think it was that powerbomb kind of suplex, the Jeff Hardy style.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. But,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, Rey was running after Eddie, and then Eddie catches him and throws him back into the ladder.
Yeah. Eddie was at the top of the ladder, and Dominic, he's trying to... he comes in the ring, and he's trying to shake the ladder.
Such a funny look at it, because you see Eddie climbing, and then Dom, with all his strength, is just like... Ugh.
And Eddie says to him, "You're gonna love me! You're gonna love me, S.A.!" That's how a dad talks to a son. You're gonna love me whether you like it or not.
And then the way he treats his son is he pulls his fist back like he's gonna punch him in the face.
Yeah. There was a ladder-assisted 619, and then, like, they were both on top of the ladder, and Eddie Guerrero was trying to hit an electric chair off of the ladder.
Goofy.
Like, okay.
Goofy boy.
Okay, obviously you know that's not going to happen because it's just too dangerous. But Eddie Guerrero is trying to do that. Oh my god, he's trying to kill Rey Mysterio.
He's like, I don't care if you
And I really think that's the storytelling. That's Eddie Guerrero.
And he's trying to kill...
He's so willing to get this because he has not beaten Rey Mysterio. And they're the two greatest luchadors of all time.
Yeah, he wants to take it to the lengths to try and kill Rey just to get Dominic.
But Rey Mysterio, he basically does this, like... he turns it into a sunset bomb, flip, actually. Yeah, it's so crazy to even think about. The fact he goes from an electric chair position on Eddie's shoulders, like, then turns, then does the
I was about to say, he flips himself and then is able to hit that.
Yeah, then Rey was on top, and the ladder was kicked from underneath him, and dude, Rey Mysterio just falls, and it
lands on his leg.
It's like the Jeff Hardy versus Rob Van Dam kind of fall.
Yeah, his leg kind of catches under him, and it's just like, ew.
Yeah, then he's back on top. He's at the top. Mm-hmm. It's kicked from underneath him. He falls, and then it's into a power bomb by Eddie. Yeah. Eddie power bombs him, and then he basically sets the ladder back up and puts Rey Mysterio's chest right underneath the other side, and he's climbing up it, and that basically gets Rey Mysterio stuck underneath the ladder. He's like, and Eddie has to look like an absolute idiot because he's up there trying to grab the briefcase, and they
literally, you just see his hands. He's like fumbling the hook in his hands.
This is a known spot that Vicky Guerrero messed up. That's why we know. That's why we see now in retrospect, Eddie Guerrero is looking like an idiot right now because Vicky Guerrero, she missed her cue or something like that. She was supposed to stop Eddie, but she just wasn't there. So Eddie's up there stuck looking like an idiot trying to get it down, and it's so easy to get it down, but he has to wait. So that was kind of stupid. But yeah, he basically he's up there. And he's fumbling around with the briefcase.
Yeah. Rey just starts rocking the ladder back and forth.
It's so awkward, and eventually the ladder gets down from underneath him, and then Rey has to pull him down or whatever.
Pulls his leg, and Eddie
falls really awkwardly. It looked like it may have hurt.
I don't know what it was with this match, but there were so many, I don't know if they were botches, but so many nasty landings in this match.
That has to be because they're luchadors and they make it look like that. They try to make it look devastating.
It's so bad. Like, both sunset flips, they both land awkwardly. And then this spot with Eddie and Rey where he pulls him off the top. Eddie just his leg just gives in when he lands, and it just looks disgusting.
Eddie went for the three amigos, and he hit that third amigo onto the ladder.
Yeah.
And then Eddie went back up the ladder, and Vicky Guerrero does actually come out this time, stops him. And then, Eddie's arguing with her. Ray gets to the top of the ladder, and then Vicky Guerrero's literally laying on top of it to try to
she's trying to stop Eddie, and she's just wrapping him up no.
And then Rey Mysterio retains his child, which was really cool.
Not retains his championship, he retains his child.
Oh, yeah.
One of the only times you'll see that.
Ray hits Eddie with the briefcase afterwards, and Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio is 0-7 now. And, I mean, I think this may have been their last, big match.
Yeah.
So that is really nice to see that this was a very great match, legendary. I mean, we're still talking about it, and it's not just me and him because we're nerds. Everybody's talking about it because it's amazing.
I mean, at this point, they made it into a storyline with Dom and Ray. That was their whole, not their whole storyline when they fought at WrestleMania, but that was part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Dom talking about
this match is still used in stories.
I'm Eddie's son.
So definitely one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah.
And one of the best matches of probably either one of these men's careers. And I feel so privileged to be able to watch this.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho is backstage and he tells Todd his mindset. He says, Todd, you want to know my mindset, Todd? Jericho tells his mindset, which I don't really care about. He has his match with John Cena later in the night for the championship. And then we see Eugene versus Kurt Angle.
Oh
Kurt Angle, the best wrestler, probably, in my opinion, of all time. He goes up against a retard.
Well, I have to wonder what's going through Vince's mind at this point.
Angle goes right after Eugene, obviously probably being offended by the fact that he's in a SummerSlam match with Eugene. He goes right after him, and dude, freaking Eugene's going for the people's elbow. I don't know. This is my first time watching Eugene as a legitimate match. I know all about him, but actually watching a match, sitting down and watching one, this is my first time, and I just didn't like him. I felt
I don't like him either.
I felt so oh my god, this sucks. Why? I know Eugene, the guy behind the character, he's probably a good wrestler, but this character sucked. And obviously, it's the creating of Vince McMahon, and 2005
Vince
is
probably
hit and miss.
Vince probably thinks this is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
Knowing Vince's range of humor.
But Eugene tries the people's elbow, and Kurt Angle stands up, hits him with a lariat, hits him with some German suplexes. The crowd, you could just tell that they didn't like Eugene either. They loved Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, if they did that boo yay sequence where they're punching each other back and forth, I'm sure Eugene would be the boo.
I don't even know if he would be a boo. I think they would just do nothing at that point.
Yeah, but the crowd loved Angle, and then freaking Eugene starts hulking up, hits a rock bottom. I just didn't like it. An Angle slam reverse into the stunner. That was kind of cool. That
reversal was cool. But that was probably the only.
But that was a huge oh my god, he might actually win. And then there was an ankle lock, then an Angle slam, and then Eugene taps to the ankle lock. And Angle is re-awarded his gold medal because Eugene stole it before the match.
So stupid.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
So dumb.
I mean, it was good for what it was, but Eugene the character ruined it for me. Legitimately.
And there's so much more you could have done with Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
On this card.
It's SummerSlam 2005. You could have had, I don't know, who wasn't on here? Was Triple H on here?
No. No. Nope.
I mean, Angle versus Triple H would have been cool.
And Vince is nah, we need comedy.
Wait, did they have Lashley on the roster?
2005?
Yeah. Yeah, they did, I think.
Yeah, probably.
I would have loved to see Lashley versus Angle.
Ooh, that would have been a good match,
anyway,
especially in 2005.
Let's not ponder on what could have been and just focus on what has been, and that match sucked.
That match was garbage.
Up next, we have another great match, Undertaker versus Randy Orton, and this is one of the historied rivalries in all of WWE.
Yeah.
It is so good. The rivalry in general, and obviously, if the rivalry is good, the matches, there's probably one or two good matches, and this was definitely one of those one of two, or whatever, Orton, they started off nothing special.
Right.
No, like, huge entrance, but Undertaker's entrance is always great. But, yeah, they started the match. Undertaker takes control immediately. Orton had to go out and try to regroup. But Undertaker, he took back control. He hit the old school. But he didn't hit the old school. He tried for the old school, and Orton hit an arm drag. Which that's always been my thought when they go up for the old school. Why not just pull him off? I've always thought about that. And Brock Lesnar and Orton are the only ones that have done it. Lesnar did it right into the F5. Times. Yeah, Lesnar did it right into the F5, and Orton just straight up arm dragged him, which was nice to see.
Yeah.
And Orton, he started beating down Taker, but that didn't last long at all. Taker started beating him up, took control immediately. Undertaker's just... He's probably one of my favorite wrestlers when it comes to that pressure that he puts on guys. Like, you don't see Shawn Michaels backing up from people. Mm-mm. But when it's Undertaker, you do see him, like, he's the one dancing around. Yeah. And he's just one of the best of all time. It is a privilege watching any Undertaker match.
Yeah.
But yeah, that didn't last long for Orton. And taking Orton to school is what Michael Cole said on commentary. Taker, he started working Orton's shoulder the entire match.
Yeah.
And then Orton, he took advantage of a missed big boot in the corner, and then he started working on Taker's leg. Working on that leg. And I always write this down when it happens. A leg drop on the apron. It's just such a great move.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's a move that can, like, legitimately injure somebody. But Undertaker still does it.
Especially with somebody the size of Undertaker.
Like, you see Jeff Hardy doing that.
Yeah.
You know, Jeff Hardy, he weighs a little less. Undertaker's 300 pounds. He puts that leg across the
Dude's
throat.
got some big legs.
And it is so perfect every time. It is executed immaculately.
Yeah.
That's a good word. Immaculately. Anyway, he hit the leg drop. Then he gets a snake eyes and big boot. But he went for the big boot, and he got hit with a beautiful drop kick. Orton has the best drop kick in the game.
Yeah.
And then Orton went for the RKO. Undertaker just throws him off. And he went for the tombstone. Orton reversed it. He was about to get a tombstone, and then Undertaker reversed it.
He tried to go for a tombstone. Then Randy reverses it. He finally lands a move and hits his...
backbreaker. He hits that... He grabs them. It was that signature in SmackDown vs. Raw 2010.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm talking about. Real OGs know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Orton, he gained control after that. And he went for a crossbody and got caught into a chokeslam. And Bob Orton, dressed as a fan, came in the ring.
Legit?
And everybody's like, oh my god, what's happening? Is a fan actually in the ring?
I was about to say, I legit forgot about this part where it was Bob Orton. And I was like, oh, there was a fan that ran in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, you see the crowd react to him like he is a fan, and you see Undertaker and the referee beating the fuck out of him. Like, getting that fan
trying
out
to
of
get
the
him
ring.
out. They try to be nice with it. Undertaker
Orton
just
hits
pushes
that
him down.
RKO, and then it's... Orton wins based off of that distraction. And then it's announced or reveled that... Yeah,
they
Bob
go up
Orton
the
was
ramp,
a
and
fan.
then Randy Orton reveals it's Bob Orton, and then Undertaker tries to go after him. And they're just like, oh! They're running away.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But Orton wins either way, and that was a...
Crazy.
I love that match. It was a really good match, and that distraction plus the reveal afterwards, it made it good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after this, we actually had the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on the line. And that was John Cena defending against Chris Jericho. And Jericho really... I feel like this period of 2005, 2006 was kind of a rebirth of Y2J. Uh-huh. This was definitely his transformation period for going from the Ayatollah of rock and rolla to that businessman Jericho. Uh-huh. That Jericho that he takes no bullshit and he'll slap him, he'll get in Shaq's face.
Yeah.
Like... No, biggest balls on earth going up to Shaq and just saying, when they said it was the best NBA player of all time, I thought they were talking about Kobe Bryant. Anyway, Chris Jericho versus John Cena, WWE Championship, on the line. What?
This is a good match. Very good match.
Okay.
Keep going.
It was a good match.
Yeah, it was a good match.
They started brawling to start the match off.
Okay.
Both of them just punch and punch and punch.
Okay.
Then Cena gains control. JR and Coachman are arguing about the fan clubs and ass kissing of Chris Jericho and John Coachman, which John Coachman is one of the best ass kissers of all time.
Known for it.
And actually, going back in the ring, Jericho, he slows the pace down. It really does seem to be that Edge, Jericho, and Orton, they all work on like a slow paced build up. Triple H, Orton, Flair. But people with the faster pace, like Cena and Jeff Hardy and Daniel Bryan, it really is a great matchup when it's the fast pace versus the slow pace, because that guy who's slow paced, he's not trying to run around and hit moves like Jeff Hardy is.
He's just trying to pick apart.
It's like Orton. He's picking apart a leg. Mm-hmm. He's picking apart an arm. He's picking apart both at the same time.
Right.
And he's doing it slow. He's not... He's waiting. Yeah. He's very patient. And Jericho is that guy.
Yeah.
He's very slow-paced. And John Cena's very quick-paced. And having these two against each other, they've always been great opponents. That's why you see Cena versus Orton and Edge as being, like, one of the greatest rivalries of all time.
Yeah.
This is the same reason that Jericho and Cena work so well. Did you guys just see Abdullah the Butcher had a suicide dive? Oh my god.
I don't know who created this Abdullah the Butcher, but bro,
he's
crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, Jericho slowed the pace down. There was a superplex near fall. Jericho tried for the walls of Jericho, and he's pushed out of the ring by Cena. There's a guillotine leg drop as Jericho's coming back in. That's that leg drop. Yeah. Where the guy is bent over. Cena does it to the back of the neck. And then Cena went for the FU.
He missed.
Yeah, Jericho gained control after that. And then Jericho, he starts showboating.
Normal Jericho.
Yeah, he's always showboating. And he gets hit with a lariat by Cena. And then Cena's looking for that comeback. And then he's going for the 5-knuckle shuffle, but then a drop toe hold into the walls of Jericho. And Jericho... firmly grasping a victory here against John Cena. Almost got it. He's almost got it. But Cena finally gets to the rope.
Yeah.
And then there was a German suplex near fall. And then Jericho, he's working in John Cena's realm of the quick paced,
trying
action.
to build things up.
He's trying to build things up. He goes for a tilt-a-whirl right into the fireman's carry. FU by John Cena. 1, 2, 3. John Cena retains his world championship. And it was a great match.
Yeah.
It was the most basic storytelling of wrestling. That quick pace versus slow pace. And Jericho just showing, I am the man. I am the best in the world at what I do. But John Cena gave him a reality check. And it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. This really didn't feel like a good time for Jericho to win the championship.
Right. I think he needed a little more time.
Obviously, when he beat Austin and The Rock in the same night, that was the right time. And then afterwards, when he finally did his 2008 run, and then after that, World Championship was more in the picture, but this wasn't the time. I really feel like it wasn't.
No.
But either way, great match, and Jericho, one of the best to ever do it. And coming up next...
weird match.
This was a weird match for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Very weird.
I mean, yeah, I didn't think about, these two are two of the best. At this time. JBL, he's not one of the best ever.
But
whatever.
He's one of the best heels at the time, though.
Yeah, of the time, he's going up against Mysterio, going up against Cena, going up against Eddie Guerrero. He had a great run here. And he was, this was after he lost to Cena. So... they had him change over to the World Heavyweight Championship picture, and he's going up against Batista during his reign after the Evolution split up. So this was a legendary moment, and I didn't really think of these two as being in the same level.
Right.
You know what I mean? JBL has never seemed like a huge star to me, but he is a huge star.
Yeah.
And... I don't know, seeing these two up against each other...
was so weird.
And these clotheslines that JBL hit...
nasty.
Every time I watch a JBL match, I've never been a favorite, I've never liked him. But every time I watch it nowadays, I'm like, oh my god, he has so much power. And it's just it's a stark, like, comparison between JBL and people of today, like Gargano and Ciampa. JBL would smash them. Mm-hmm. Like, hit one clothesline, they're doing flips out of this world. But, yeah, Batista versus JBL, it was a weird match. It was a weird matchup for me, because I feel like Batista would obviously win. But it was good. I did like, at the beginning, during JBL's entrance, there was $100 bill JBL, like, dollars coming out of the sky. It was awesome.
No, it wasn't JR. Who was it? Jerry the King Lawler?
He was trying to keep one, but...
He was like, oh, it's $100 falling down. And they're like, oh, but it's JBL face $100 bills. That ain't worth nothing.
The disappointment. Yeah, JBL, he came out and attacked Batista during his entrance, and they started brawling.
Surprise there.
They started brawling in the crowd, and Batista, he ends up hitting a spear through the barricade from the crowd side to the ring
usually
side.
Don't see that.
Yeah, and that was really cool. And Batista, the next bigger spot in the match, they were just brawling and stuff. They got in the ring. Batista started getting choked by a belt, and yeah, and then he hit a back suplex on JBL to get out of it. He ends up getting the belt from JBL, and he starts whipping JBL with it. And man, these two are some strong boys. I would not want to get whipped by either one of these with a belt. But yeah, there was a clothesline from hell near fall. Like I said, those clotheslines from hell, like, just looking back at them, I don't think anybody hits a clothesline like JBL does.
No.
Just that brute. Like, he's built like an ox.
He has one of those 1 in a million moves that he hits like nobody else.
Yeah. And it sent Batista out like he was Ricochet or something like that. It was so devastating. And then there was a pile driver on the steps countered into a backdrop. JBL was trying to hit the pile driver on Batista on the steps to win this match. And then after Batista hit that backdrop, you could just... This is the animal unleashed. Yeah, he grabs him.
Stopping Batista.
Batista bomb. He could have won right there, but he doesn't. He doesn't pin. He grabs him again.
Sets him up. It's a Batista bomb on the steps.
On the steps.
On the steps. His back just smacks right off of the steps.
1, 2, 3. Like, that was the most definite 3 count I think I've ever seen. And look, we're talking about JBL's clothesline from hell. Let's talk about that Batista bomb by Batista. That is powerful.
Yeah.
And this was the final match before the main event, the notorious Michaels versus Hogan match. And let's just talk about the backstage ramifications here. You had Hogan, who is the ultimate egomaniac.
Yeah.
Versus Shawn Michaels. And, you know... Realistically, if I was booking, I would have definitely put Michaels over. Mm-hmm. Because Hogan is like 50 here. Maybe
but
older.
You gotta think. Hogan doesn't give a crap about anybody else but himself. He doesn't. If he's in a match against somebody, he ain't gonna put him over. Dude only cares about himself.
But for real, I didn't... Like, this is a really good example of who really does hold the power when it comes to pulling strings. Yeah. Michaels is one of the top stars at the time. Literally, probably the top star. You could put him in the WrestleMania main event and it would make complete sense. And that was the case for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And now, you have Hogan come back in after being in WCW. This was probably 3 years after his return.
Yeah.
From WCW to WWF. Or WWE, and yeah, he was able to, because they were planning on having Michaels win, and then Hogan was like, that doesn't work for me, brother.
That doesn't work for me, brother. I gotta win.
Yeah, Michaels, obviously very pissed about that.
And
he oversold every single move in this match.
That, and Michaels' payback for Hogan wanting to win is he just absolutely
makes this match look ridiculous.
Absolutely oversells every single move. It is amazing. I love it.
I like the story.
It makes it look so goofy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But the story was great going into this. And one of the main lines I took from it was Michael saying, "Your immortality has a price."
Yeah.
which I thought was really cool. And this was a legendary match. Like, even if you pay attention to the backstage ramifications, if you actually look at it and, you know, you're concerned by the drama, just forget about it.
Right.
Watch this match. This is Hogan versus Michaels. These are two legendary wrestlers.
This is your once in a lifetime before once in a lifetime.
Yeah, these were dream matches. Rock versus Hogan and Michaels versus Hogan, and, you know.
Yeah.
This was great. And they were going... The crowd was going crazy for Hulkamania. For real. Like, if you look at it after 2014... You know, yeah, you don't get the idea of how big Hogan was.
Right.
2005, they were loving him from 2002 to 2005. This was his, like, retirement year.
Yeah.
This was insane.
They're going absolutely
They loved him.
Nuts.
But they started off with the lockups, having that test of strength in the beginning, and Hogan easily throws Michaels off 3 times. And, you know... I don't know. I feel like that starting off, that was kind of necessary.
Yeah.
Because it just puts you back into a realistic view of, yeah, they might be 2 of the best stars of all time, but Hogan is so much bigger than Michaels.
Right.
I think you had to make that so obvious at the start, and the strategies for both of these men are laid down right there.
Yeah.
Michaels needs to work on his speed and work on his fast-paced action, and Hogan's one of the best when it comes to fast pace because he gets hawked up.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they started off with the lockups, and then the first oversell was Hogan hitting a shoulder tackle. Michaels, if you don't want to watch it for the story, watch it for the oversells. Or at least look it up on YouTube. Look up these Shawn Michaels SummerSlam 2005 oversells because it is so funny. He gets hit with the shoulder tackle and just his body loses control. And then those kicks in the corner when he's set up on the top.
Boing.
Yeah, Hogan.
Hits a kick. Boing.
Hogan kicks him. He goes so high in the air. And then after the third kick, he goes high in the air.
And then lands.
And then he does his own spot where he puts, he's hung up on the top rope. And it's a spot where you shouldn't go there, but he still does because he's overselling it, and it's so cool. So funny to watch. And then, yeah, the funniest one of the entire match, though, has to be when Hogan grabbed him by the back of the head and just put his face into the corner, or into the top turnbuckle. His feet land on the bottom rope, and then he does, a whisper in the wind, for real flip, out of a simple... just head into the buckle, and he just goes flying.
He goes flying to the outside.
That was definitely the funniest one. And then there's Hogan has been in control. Michaels just puts a thumb in the eye, and it was so funny to just see
it's not even an obvious thumb to the eye. He just goes...
He's moving around so much from these oversells that it looks so, seamless. It does
a move and then just...
there was a clothesline out of the ring oversell where he gets sent out of the ring, then he does another flip when he lands on the floor. Michaels comes back in the ring, he just slaps Hogan 2 times. There was an Irish whip into the corner oversell where he did that Nature Boy flip into the corner, and then he just keeps going.
Yeah.
Then Shawn uses the post as an ally. I liked how JR kept wording it. He kept saying, he's using that post as a tag team partner. And Michaels he takes over, and instead of hitting these big moves, he just closes his fist and hits Hogan in the face 40 times at least.
Yeah, just
starts for real.
Landing multiple blows.
And these look like UFC punches, and then afterwards, Hogan is just busted up. And seeing a 50 or 60-year-old man busting up like that,
him looking, he's like, oh.
Even if it is fake, you have to kind of feel a little sorry for him.
Right.
This is how he makes his money.
It looks so weird with his face covered in blood.
I think the biggest or the best shot of the night, the shot that makes the match, is when Michaels had him in a sleeper hold and his face was just covered with blood.
And it was still pouring too.
Yeah.
It was just like.
And they do that spot where the referee raises his hand. He does it for the 3rd time, and Hogan just puts his finger up. No, 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 no. Hogan comeback. The strongest comeback in WWE. And yeah, Michaels takes Hogan and the ref out.
Yeah.
Just hitting that forearm on Hogan. I think Hogan runs into the ref or something like that.
Yeah.
And the referee's out of the equation, and Michaels locks on the sharpshooter on Hulk Hogan. And finally, Hogan's able to get to the ropes. And then he kicks Michaels into the other ref.
It's just like, what?
And they say on commentary, I don't even know if we have any more refs available. And then, while both refs are down, Michaels hits the huge low blow on Hogan. I am the ultimate heel. And hits that low blow, chair shot to the face, elbow drop, and then he's setting up for that sweet chin music. He hits it. 1, 2, 3, right? How in the hell can Hogan even make it realistic for them to book that he kicks out of a freaking low blow, chair shot, elbow drop, sweet chin music, near fall, and Hogan just gets up and no-sells everything and hawks up? What are you talking about? He hawks up, he hits that big boot on Michaels, and that was a crazy oversell as well.
Yeah.
And then hits that big leg, the huge leg drop, 1, 2, 3. Hogan wins. That was the most bullshit finish.
One of the goofiest matches.
No,
ever.
it was a really good match, honestly.
It was a good match, but it was also so goofy. But it was great.
I think overall, this was a really good show.
Yeah.
It was a very enjoyable show, if not anything.
Right.
And, yeah, you had Benoit versus Jordan, Benoit's new champ. Edge versus Hardy. You had Eddie versus Ray. Eugene versus Angle, which probably that was the worst match of the night, for sure. Undertaker versus Orton. Jericho versus Cena. Batista versus JBL turned out to be a good 10-minute match.
Yeah. And
then Michaels versus Hogan. Although it wasn't a good finish, it was a great match.
Yeah.
And the only reason it wasn't a good finish was because, just logistically, people wanted Michaels to win.
Yeah. And
that was the general consensus of everybody, and even in retrospect, it is stupid that Hogan won.
Like, there was no benefits for Hogan to win.
I mean, yeah, situation. Legitimately, he's 60 years old. And Michaels, it doesn't matter if he loses.
Right.
But it's just the kind of premise of the thing that Michaels finally beats Hogan, and, he's into superstardom even more.
Just allow that to be Hogan's send-off there.
I mean, that would have made sense. And it was a good story, like Michaels taking Hogan out after they tag teamed together.
Yeah.
And, it was good, but I don't know.
Just not what anybody expected.
But yeah, I'd probably... Yeah, if you're going to watch a good show, if you just want to eat your dinner and watch a good wrestling show, this is definitely one to show some emotion throughout. And if you're a big fan of Hogan, you'll be happy.
And if you also want a pay-per-view on the shorter side of things compared to how things are today, this was
3 hours, right?
It was just short of 3 hours. I think it was 2 hours.
They jam-packed so much.
3 minutes. It was 2 hours and 53 minutes with the matches they had. That's impressive.
That is a stark difference from what our next pay-per-view that we're going to be going over is going to be, and that is Greatest Royal Rumble. That was a
5-hour show.
Yeah, 5-hour show that I didn't really enjoy.
I didn't even get to watch all of it, but
I mean, for real,
remember watching it when it first was live.
The shows today are they're so long, and I know with WrestleMania, they split it into 2 nights for that reason. However, both WrestleMania nights are 4 hours
each, yeah.
And the shows that aren't split into 2 nights, they're at least 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it is a better difference from what it was in 2019. With WrestleMania 35, that being 5 hours, 7 hours if you count the pre-show, those fans getting home late, the interstates are jam-packed.
The main event not starting until 12:30 and 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But either way, they made it better now. But I still feel like, I don't know, it's just so weird to see that they have so much in these 3-hour shows.
Yeah.
Why have 5-hour shows?
Right. You might as well just shorten it down.
But I mean, that's just us cherry picking. That's no
Right, that's our preference. I know people are different.
It's just nice to have a 3-hour watch where it's like so good. It has the same level of quality as a 4-hour show, but in less time.
Right.
And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have anything that you want us to watch, whether that be UFC, any other MMA pay-per-view, AEW, ROH, TNA, anything,
just let us know.
Let us know. We'll take a look at it. We'll probably watch it because we both love wrestling. And
go for anything.
If you guys have a suggestion, don't hesitate. I really enjoy watching these older shows.
Yeah, me too. Especially some of the older ones, like before I was even born, like getting to watch what wrestling was like back then is really nice.
It's nice to look back so that you can see what were the bad things and what were the good things, and then compare it to today.
Yeah. And,
I don't know. I really think that just from us watching this, I feel like the before 2010 was a really good era.
Yeah.
2016 was a good era, but then once you get past 2016,
it just
and
falls
up
off.
until probably 2022, it's just not really like something you want to watch.
Yeah.
Even when we went to Extreme Rules 2021, that wasn't necessarily an enjoyable show.
No.
I mean,
it was enjoyable for the fact that it was our first show.
Well, I remember us leaving and you were pissed at what happened. That was Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns.
It was stupid.
That was stupid. We were watching it. We were there live. Idea why.
I wish Triple H would have taken over sooner, because Triple H would have booked that match. Not only A, we would have booked that match in a better way, and B, probably would have had Finn Balor win in that situation. I wish he would have.
I'm really happy he didn't. I'm really happy that things have turned out the way they have with Roman Reigns' reign. And, whether that... We haven't watched WrestleMania yet. Today is WrestleMania, the first night, and we're recording it, so when we were saying it was a good show, we don't know.
we don't know yet. You'll know. You'll know. But, eventually.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
So, we don't know if Roman Reigns beat Cody Rhodes again, which if he did, fuck that. But if he didn't...
Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for WrestleMania 41.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Go for the 3. Go for the 3. Tie Stone Cold's record.
Well, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Up in it, bitch, we tryna get higher. Put it back, I cooking and rack me, eating that pack of meal and stapper, holding it down, pull up in the primary rip, that just stop faking the cat. Yeah, killing the trapper, coming back, I'll break new loose, keep up in the track, I'm feeling the beachy, burning, healing, marking it, tie beam, baking me screech. Don't clap in the sea, air track and pee, I'm master love, but feet too deep, I'm switching my game, take pass and see, but with my shot, no line to see.